What's up guys, welcome to a Global Wingman Tips video for ShortNuke. I'm going to get myself armor, aka a full belt of utility, make sure that God mode is on, and with the help of bot Zigzag we're going to go through as many tips and tricks live in one take like a Twitch live stream. So pause the video, rewind if there's anything you want to see again, or go down to the YouTube comments and see if there's any super sexy timestamps for any super sexy tips. Now this is probably one of the hardest maps within the Wingman map pool. It's certainly the most CT sided. We're inside a building, there's no skybox to come raining in grenades and smokes, flashes and mollies and stuff like that. You can only really enter in through Decon, squeaky, double doors here or main, or down towards control room. Different teams, different places of the world will call all of these spots different things, and the CTs can be anywhere inside this. The bomb site is the area marked out red here. The CTs can be up on these catwalks, they can be stuck in behind little boxes and nooks and crannies like this, they can be out on weird kind of one and done positions out here where you might not be checking them on kind of weird spots like this, or they could be up on the ramp doorways or anywhere basically, and it's can be pretty nasty. So let me show you some ways in towards this. We'll start off on Decon T side. Now there is some nice early wall bangs that you can do. You can get in towards here, stand at the corner. If you want to shoot the left ramp door halfway down this diagonal line here, halfway down, loosey-goosey, don't worry too much, it's just a loosey-goosey lineup. Start peppering in some bullets and you're going to get some nice damage going off in towards this doorway. This is a good doorway for CTs to play because they can obviously see if you come out that door, see you out of this door, and kind of jiggle this and see if you're coming into here as well. So that is just going to do damage at anyone who stood in this doorway, and any damage is good damage, I promise you, because you may even soften up a CT even with 10, 20, 30, 40 HP. A little bit of damage that you can do will just soften them up for a grenade maybe later in the round, and like that at the start of the round, if you can get any early damage off, then that could really help you. By the way, you can also do this. Some people just didn't realize that you can do that, but if you don't care about that, you can go 1, 2, 3 panels along, and again right in the middle of this panel on the third one, 3's the magic number. Loosey-goosey, don't worry too much, it's just about trying to get some damage in early in the round as well. You can spray anyone then who's coming into this doorway. Any CTs who are coming down here early at the start of the round and they're running here, whether they're going into the control room, whether they're running up the catwalk or just trying to dive down into this spot quickly, all this damage is going to damage them early, and they're going to go, whoa, that's a little bit fucking creepy, and then, you know what I mean? So, and basically you can just start getting into these positions and doing these wall bangs nice and quickly at the start of the round. Plus, sometimes it's good to do stuff like that at the start of the round, because if the CTs are just dropping Molotovs and smokes on windows and stuff like that, you've got to wait the first 15 seconds anyway. So rather than rush down here and risk getting fucking naded to death, I may as well come to here and safely try some stuff like this and get out of there. Remember, nothing is one-way wall bangable. If you stand there too long, they are just going to start shooting you back, and you're not going to be safe inside there. So don't get fucking caught stood still here and just getting railed in background. If they start shooting back at you, it's time to go, okay? You can also shoot the corner of catwalk as well, so if I want to just look in this triangle here on the same panel, third one along, I can basically do some damage here to anyone who stood in towards this corner like this. Any CT who's up here, waiting in here, you can absolutely nail them in that corner. It's going to be pretty funky. Now, let's carry on down towards Decon. There's a flashbang that you can do to get yourself out of this Decon door. This one is courtesy of my friend Frodo T. Baggins, lovely guy. Just look at the fingers of the gloves here, left click throw, and then open that up last second, and then move on round and do some stuff here. That is literally going to open up and absolutely catch out any CTs that are lacking. Anyone who's looking at that part of the map, that's just going to open up the door and just go, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo, absolutely lovely jubbly. So you basically, you just want to stand here, look at the fingers, left click throw, and then you kind of easily, you don't get dazed by that, you can come on around then and methodically check your angles and stuff like this. Obviously I show you that when I open the door, I'm open at risk to that AWPer, so there's no reason then, if you want to open from a different place, then absolutely, then you can open it from up here. I can open the door from this side like this if I don't want to be at risk to anything, and I can check this angle first and then move out and check those angles. So it's up to you. I prefer to check it like this, because then I kind of know where the pre-fire, that's the kind of angle I want to go for anyway, then I can come and check this. But if you're more convinced that they're going to be up there anyway, then absolutely, oh, I keep pressing E, bringing up my buy menu, then absolutely, then you can actually do something like this, and that flash is going to do anything like this. Now you can also throw Molotovs and stuff like this up to people like this, if there's people up on top of you on the catwalk. If you want to bounce a Molotov up there, just use this coil, this silo in front of you, and get a Molotov that just lands right there as well. Super nice. Or if we're running along, we can bounce it off the edge here, and we can get a Molotov that kind of lands up in towards that corner to make sure no one's there. You can wall bang, obviously, anyone who's up there as well. Any kind of CT who's up here, look at that, he is not going to be safe up here from that wall bang. Remember though, no wall bang is one way, so they can easily start shooting you back like this, and the bullets will start coming back at you, so be careful. If you want to wall bang anyone up here, just remember it's at the left of this line. Do not shoot into the corner, because that is not the corner, that's just shooting into the bottom of the wall, okay? So if you need to wall bang anyone up here, always to the left of this line, then that'll work. You could go anywhere, look at that, all my bullets go through, anywhere like that works. Do not shoot to the right of that line. That is not the corner of catwalk, that is the corner of catwalk, where you can see I'm shooting there. Just be mindful of that. And obviously I can Molotov, you know, up here if I want to do a Molotov that kind of burns up there towards that bit of the catwalk. It depends wherever the CT is, but sometimes you may find that you're coming out of Decon, you're doing this, you're kind of moving out this. No one's here, and you're even checking everything. You're checking this corner, you're checking this door, and you're like, where the hell are they? And that's because there's probably a CT waiting right here to just jump down and drop on your flipping head as soon as you come out that doorway. So that's why sometimes it's essential you've got that Molotov. You hear them burning, you can go for that woman. If you hear them running away down there, you know what I mean, you can then start trying to go for them, or do deep flashbangs. Do not flash out of this doorway like this and then come out like this, because I promise you, if there's a CT up here, he's not blinded by that. That's not going deep enough. You need to get a fucking flashbang that lands deep out on sight. That flashbang is not going to blind this guy. Literally nothing, and he's going to shoot you as soon as you come out. Same again from this position. You can't flash that position from down there. That's just not going deep enough. It's not even phasing this guy, and he's just going to step out and go for you as soon as possible. If you want to flash those guys, get a deep flashbang, and then you move on out, and then you start going in for these fights. Or, you know what I mean, go for those deep flashes like this, and then you're moving out then, and then you're coming to clear this stuff, because those deep flashes like that, those are the ones that catches guys out in these positions. Anyone who's tucked into this position is getting full yeet, and he's seeing nothing. So make sure you're doing all that kind of stuff, okay? There's smoke strategies that you can do from back here. Obviously, you can Molotov the cubby, just bounce it off the wall like this. This cubby is a good position. CTs might sometimes. The only problem with this cubby is there's no exit strategy. You'll probably hear me in other videos talk about exit strategies. Your exit strategy is pretty mad. So, you know, basically you can throw that in here, and the CT's going to be like, ah! And come running out and start just getting absolutely fucked. If you know that someone's in there, you can basically almost guarantee yourself a kill. And as soon as they're on fire, you can just start shooting them coming out of there. And even if you've dropped that and the CT just does this, you know they're in there. You literally know 100% they're in there, and then basically, if you've done any damage with a wall bang beforehand in the round or anything like that, you can just double nade anyone in this spot. You know there's a CT in here, and you're just going to really start hurting him and making him punish for being in this corner, because there's no way out, really. And yeah, so that's basically how you can deal with that corner. If you're CT and you see, I mean, you can play mad mind games, you know what I mean? So if you CT side go for something like that, you can go mad mind games and throw a smoke down there, and you could do that, extinguish that Molotov, and by doing that, sometimes you'll actually make the T's think that someone's in there, and then you'll see them start then wasting all their utility in this corner, being so mindful that someone's down there, when actually you're waiting up here now for them to come out that door, and you're going to just pop them as soon as they come out. So don't be afraid to do some mad mind games, guys. That could really work. In terms of smokes, there are two smokes that you can throw here. If you just look at, obviously, you need to be safe from this angle here if you're doing this. You look at the top of this little blue box here. I'm going to actually show you with a Krieg, just because it's easier to show you. Look at the tip of the blue box here. Loosey-goosey, anywhere in the tip of the box. Left click throw, it's going to go over, bounce off the box, and it's going to land perfectly there. That's going to give you a smoke on left side of coil, the left side of silo, whatever it is you want to call it. That will give you the left side smoke. Now, to smoke on the right-hand side, you just stand right next to that person, and you just look at the line here, the bottom of the kind of the silo, just like this. Left click throw, and that will give you then a smoke like this. This is how you can set yourself up some really nice smoke screens to get yourself out. There's no reason that you can do smokes like this, you know what I mean? So we could stand side by side, me and my friend here, me and Bot Zigzag can stand right here side by side, obviously with the safety of this, make sure there's no CT here, and then we can basically both throw these smokes like this, and that way we've got a beautiful smoke strat that the CTs, if they are playing ramp, have no fucking clue what's happening behind that smoke screen, and that can be really nice, and that could give you the opportunity to move out then and see what's going on. Behind that smoke screen you can do all sorts of stuff, whether you want to plant the bomb, you can plant it here, you can plant it here, you can plant it here, and you can kind of then play around the smokes. You can just do a little thing. You can even get a little jump spot to say, yep, there's one on the left door, and try and get all this kind of stuff, and so it's kind of up to you then as to how you want to do it. Let me get this bot out of the way and back into safety. So that's the kind of thing if you're looking to do those smoke strats. Top of the blue box, and the other person here just looks at the bottom of the silo like this. That's how you can do it. Remember that you can see these lights through the stuff like this, so you can kind of get a good gauge of where that doorway is. Look at that, the lights kind of guide you through the smoke to that doorway. If not, you can just jump peek it, and I can see that the kind of doorway is going to be there. And I can still get headshots into anyone stood in this door through the smoke, and they'll be like, what the fuck? And that will be absolutely horrendous for them to deal with. In terms of CT counter utility, grenades. Keep your grenades. You'll see me do a pistol round strat where two CTs play back here and they've bought HE grenades, and this is basically, you wait, you let the T's deliberately come out and try and plant in the safety behind that silo, and then as soon as you see them do that, you can just look at the tip of the silo, run forward, and you can get grenades then that land right on towards a bomb planter. And you imagine if there's two of you here at the same time. you can absolutely do huge damage to a T who's planting the bomb. So keep your grenades late, and if you start seeing smoke strategies like that coming in, then absolutely keep your grenades and just start launching them behind that. Better yet, if you've still got your Molotov as a CT, because often as CTs we like to throw them early, we'll put them on doors like this to stop people rushing. If you still have your Molotov behind that and you see this smoke screen appear, then absolutely, sometimes it's worth keeping your Molotov. Ooh, the smoke's not gone well. Sometimes it's worth keeping your Molotov. Oh my goodness, that's like 2 times it's not gone well. What's happening? There we go. There we go. So you might start seeing smoke strats like that coming around, and by all means, you remember the lineup, you look at the top of the coil just here, and you can get a Molotov then that lands behind that, and that's going to make it really difficult then, and it's going to force the Ts. Remember, there's a gap kind of left at the edge of the smoke. The whole point is that you can kind of just then start coming around and checking these angles and start checking that this is clear. So use that gap to the edge of the smoke, and obviously if you're CT, keep an eye on the edge of that smoke, because they're not going to be able to see you through that side of the smoke. You can just then kind of wait and see if anyone comes to creep in round. So that's kind of the little bits I can think of for Decon. Other than that, there's not too much more to it. It's a hard ass map. Next up, you can kind of do the same principle. Remember I showed you about the flashbang? You can just bounce it off the wall here and just open up then around and then kind of do that stuff where you can come in and check the door just like this. That's going to be pretty funky, okay? So if you want to do that, just apply the principle to any flashbang, any door, and you can kind of then move on around and check this kind of angle through like this. And this lets you help push out then as well. If you want to smoke out or just come down from that white line, you can do a smoke like this, and this kind of lands out here. And this is a good smoke because it helps you push out and look left, because this is such a... I told you how much of a difficult crossfire this is. If I'm coming out of this door and there's someone in here or up here or up here and there's someone up here, I'm going to be stuck in a flipping horrible crossfire, and there is nothing I can do really. So I have to get that smoke to just kind of narrow down that kind of field of vision that the CTs are going to have. And so by smoking off that, I leave no gaps there where they can see me come out, and now I can focus on this guy. I can focus on killing these guys behind here, and I can kind of then move on round and get the kills here. I can Molotov copy. I know it's there. I don't need to see it to know it's there. If I want to, I can just throw a Molotov in towards the cubby. And I can plant in the smoke if I want to, just like that, on towards the edge of the bomb site. So that's a pretty cool thing that you can do. And just remember, you can flash once the door is open. No one needs to, you don't need to have the door open, you know, to do that. So do you know what I mean? So you can basically do that. Once I follow that up with that, then I can follow it up with a second flash, and then we can come on out then and start checking. Remember that a deep flash like that is not going to blind this position. You need a very specific flash to blind this guy, because this position up here is not going to get done by that flash, and you're going to get destroyed. So make sure if you do want to flash that guy, you need to bounce it off this door with an underhand flash like this, and then you're coming round and stuff like this. Easier if the door's actually blown up, but basically you need that flash to land in this guy's POV, so you need to land it right there. That's how you flash the guy on coils. Really essential. Sometimes the doors will be blown up, so if you want a fast a fast T-side rush play kind of strat like this, maybe you've got Tech 9s, you're going for a fast round, there's a combo you can do where you blow the door with a grenade, you flash out and smoke out and stuff like this. And to blow the door with the grenade, you need to bounce your grenade so that it pops in front of the door here. Let me show you. So at the start of the round, you then pop the door, do a flash, drop that, and the flash goes behind you, and then you can drop the smoke here, and then you can do a fast plant and stuff like this. Do you see that? That would be such an insane combo. Look at where that flash lands behind that. And if I get myself some new stuff, the flash lands in that smoke behind here, and any CTs who are caught out looking at this will be just wrecked by that smoke flash combo. It is such a dangerous combo, and at the start of the round you can basically do it so fast. As soon as that comes out, and look at that, it flashes before I get there, and I can come out, I can see the doorway, I can still pre-fire that doorway, and now I can move on around and cover my teammate whilst they go straight for that smoke plant. I can kill them as they come in over the top here. I've not broken the glass, so if I hear them break the glass, I know they're coming, and if I've still got a Molotov, then absolutely I can drop that there, so now they can't flank me, and now we can just still do this and cover my teammate whilst we're going for that kind of play, okay? So that is absolute madness. If you're looking for a guaranteed strat, then I use this so many times where I pop the door like this, throw the flash, and sometimes I can check this. The amount of times that flash is going to absolutely fuck anyone who's wandering along this kind of catwalk here. The door's just going to blow open, a flash will be met, and then you're just going to have a CT crying for his life up at the top on catwalk here. So there's a really easy combo if you're looking to just do that. Pop the nade. It'll pop the door like this, bounce it anywhere off this. You can throw that before your grenade pops because you've got a rough idea of when that grenade's going to pop. I can throw that now. And there we go, that's going to land there, and it's not going to blind me, and I can swing out now and start clearing these angles. And obviously with the fast smoke last second, then we can just do something like this. Super easy. That'll be the way to do it. And remember again, now with the door blown off, it's probably actually easier to just rock a grenade like this. Like that. That would be how I clear that angle. Look at that. Because in my Vertigo video, I took you to school and talked about how flashbangs work. Talk about how this angle here is the angle that CT's holding, drawing an invisible line down the screen, and the whole point is my flashbang needs to land to the right of this line, and that absolutely does. That's how you guarantee a flash on towards that player, on towards that position, okay? So it's going to be really good. So that's the way you need to do it, and then you could even do double flashes, so a teammate could stand behind you here, zigzag throws that flash, you know, where the second person maybe does that flash instead. So it goes deeper, and then you've actually got double flashes. One person looks this way, the other person's coming out like this, and these double flashes are going to do absolute madness. Mad things. I think that's pretty much everything. If you obviously the same principle I showed you from Decon, use this coil to your advantage. If you need to burn someone in this corner, then get the Molotov up into that corner. Don't let them play up in towards that position. Same again, if you need to Molotov low down towards this corner, just do it down like that, and then you can get a Molotov then that lands in towards that corner. That box is wall bangable only to AWPs. Do you know what I mean? So I can't shoot someone through that box if they're with a rifle. However, with an AWP, that bullet goes straight through. Remember that if you're AWPing up on ramp. Just because you see a T go in behind that box, you can absolutely nail them still because they're behind that box for cover and behind safety. This is a bit of a one and done spot. I don't necessarily recommend it if you're CT because you open to that door and you can be absolutely wrecked. And same again, if they open this door and drop a Molotov at you, you know, it's going to be a bit of a problem and you're going to be like, oh my days. And then if it spreads, you're like, oh my god, then you're going to have to run through a whole Molotov to get yourself out of there. Absolute horribleness. But if you do want to play that position, you can do a flashbang as well where you look at this line, just go up a bit, flash over for yourself. You can do flashes like that to flash yourself out. I think that's everything for Decon, for double doors. You can kind of then come up here, these windows. The hard thing is, CT, I always recommend that CT don't blow these windows because they then get an audio cue. So often what CTs will do, and this is a good CT side tip and trick, start of the round, get straight down here and get into the round. By the way, like a good CT tip is to not do what the bots do and run all the way around here. That's absolute brain dead. Make sure that at the start of the round you're getting straight down in towards the action. A fast CT smoke for windows to just look at that line, just like that. Left click throw, it's going to land perfectly in towards the middle of the window. There's no gaps at all for T side to abuse, and you're just going to be waiting here. And the CTs have to have the good thing of not breaking the glass, because if they don't break the glass, you have to make an audio cue. You have to make noise to show that you're coming in through here. There's no way you can get through quietly, and as soon as you break that glass, they're just going to absolutely nail you and start training their fire. They're going to start rocking grenades in towards that smoke, and so it's a big problem. So unless you're deliberately trying to fake it, where you kind of pop the glass down here and then you're actually getting ready to do a double door thing, sometimes you can deliberately break the glass so that this guy who's waiting here is like, oh, the glass just broke, and now he's looking up here, and now you're getting ready for a pop flash out of those doors. But you can be kind of quite strategic with it if you want. In terms of flashing, just flash off that line just like this, and then I can kind of then move on up. Same principle, like I said, draw that invisible line. This invisible line here of the screen, this is the angle he's watching. This invisible line here, my grenade needs to land inside his POV. Anywhere over this side of the line is a win on a flashbang terms. So that flashbang comes into his POV and absolutely wrecks him. So like I said, you don't need massive lineups, guys. You don't need to be like, you know, you should just know that so long as I'm flashing this side of the screen, where it's in cover for me but not in cover for him, then that's when I can start moving out and do things like this. You can obviously smoke off that door as well if you just look at the silver stuff. Let me get myself a creek again. If you look at the silver line just like this, crouch, left click throw, it's going to go over and it's just going to smoke off in the doorway. That's particularly helpful because if you don't want to show yourself, that grenade gets thrown in from cover like this, like that, and then he's going to be like, fuck. He's going to have to come around and cover this door then instead. If you want to smoke off that door, just look into the corner of the door frame. Really easy like that. You can do double smokes like that. That only works again if you are absolutely certain that they're up there. And the good thing is this lets you come out then and deal with this. You can then start dealing with this guy whilst pretty much being quite safe there. Obviously a smoke is not an actual hard door. There's no reason that CT just can't come wandering through the smoke like this. But if you're kind of ready for it, that CT's going to be a mad disadvantage when he comes through. You're going to see him first and he's going to come through not knowing where to look, and you can just absolutely drop him as soon as he comes through that. So it's much easier to do smokes and stuff like this. Obviously if you want to Molotov this bit underneath, just look at the wall here. Just look at the edge of the floor. So as long as you're looking at the edge of the floor here, absolutely fine. Your Molotov's going to go in, no problem. So you can Molotov that position from there, because again, sometimes you might get CTs who are waiting in here. They're waiting for you to jump out that window, and they're going to shoot you from down below. You're going to come out like this, and there's going to be a guy down there waiting to shoot you as you're wandering around here. So be very careful of that as well. Behind coils, this is an absolute meathead spot here for CTs. Absolutely dreadful. It's really hard to deal with because CTs, they can kind of just jiggle around here and they can kind of just give info, kind of wait and make it really, really hard and stuff like that. Okay, so that can be really, really nasty. And, you know, they can always just throw flashbangs. Whether they're doing flashbangs like this, they're blind over towards the wall, they can throw flashes like that, and that's going to be big, big problem for you. If they're throwing flashes like that, and then it's just going to really give you hard shit. So if you want to clear them out, you can throw a Molotov off that yellow pillar like this, run forward, get a deep Molotov, it bounces, it gets a deep Molotov that bounces off here, off the left side of that. There we go. And because the whole point is that Molotov spreads along this catwalk, I now can't play behind the coil. I physically can't play behind the coil. I can't stand out here, I can't stand out here, and that forces me off. So it's a really good Molotov to throw if you know that they're up here on the catwalk, because that comes around here and they think, oh, that's landed over there. And they're like, whoa, fuck, that's hot. And they'll either have to come over here and stuff like that. And when they're over in that corner, they are so much easier to deal with. You can kind of stand up here, get a flashbang out, and then kind of just jump down and get that, because as soon as they're pushed off with that Molotov, that flash, look at that, that comes out and just absolutely wrecks them. So if you're looking for some combos to deal, utility combos I'm talking about here, to deal with CTs in those positions, get the Molotov, get the flash, get in there, and then just start clearing out these positions and making sure that they can't then be playing these kind of positions to get them out. So I think that's pretty much everything I can think of to get yourself out of these kind of angles. Always remember to check one and done spots like this. The amount of times you might get done by walking up to the window. If you're walking up to this window to look that way, you might miss this guy down here. You come jumping out and he's just going to nail you as soon as he sees you jump up. And same again, always be careful, methodical as you check your angles. By the way, you can play Rainbow Six Siege as well in this game. We call it Rainbow Six when we're deliberately shooting or doing damage to a door, but just enough to not blow open the whole door and you've got a hole like this. This is insane. If you can just keep shooting the door like this, imagine I'm shooting the door, you're shooting the door, the middle of the door will pop out like this, and then you can kind of just play a little bit Rainbow Six like this. And you can come on round then, and you can play around that angle. You can just go around and just see if you can get an idea of where they are, and that works again for CT side. Be very, very careful. If you start seeing them break a hole in the door like this, just get a flipping nade in there and make sure that they can't take use of that spot, and they're not going to be able to play it. So just blow open the door and just eliminate their cover. This is a good angle as well, like I said, to come and check the ramp and stuff like this. So don't let them play that cover. Getting out of this angle here, I think I've literally covered absolutely everything now. If quick CT side tips and tricks, I've shown you this already. The quick smoke like this, you can get down here as fast as possible if you want a quick smoke. If you want to smoke off the double door, if you want to molly off the double doors, look at the corner of the railings, left click throw. That's going to land right in front of it. And that'll make it hard for the T's to get out, because they'll open the door and they'll have to either just extinguish it like this, or they'll have to run through and plant and stuff like this. So that's why it's quite often you'll see people do that. Now same again, you can do it from over here. You can smoke the double doors, whether they'll do something like this, and if you want to Molotov the corner here, just look at the end of the railing again. Literally over at the corner at the end of the railing. And you want to move forward. That's my bad. Run forward, left click throw, and then you're going to get a nice easy Molotov that lands here. And same again here, if you just want to look into the corner, you'll get really easy Molotovs that start there at the start of the round, because you don't want CTs rushing out of those corridors, out of those positions. I always recommend, if you've got an AWP or something like this, Molotov that, don't smoke it. Because, I mean, you can smoke it if you want to, but if you've got an AWP, then you're removing the power play that your AWP has in being able to take a ranged fight. If you've not got an AWP, if you've only got rifles, and that's actually quite a difficult fight to play against a T who's maybe playing a Krieg or an AWP on the other side, then absolutely you should be smoking that. And the smoke is what I should have said, that you just look into the corner, the smoke then lands perfectly in towards the door like this. Then smoke that. If you don't have long range weapons as a CT, smoke that, because then no T is able to open the door and kind of abuse his AWP from back here and say anything like this. The Ts can't see anything when you've smoked off that door. That really gives you the cover then to move up towards this. I never recommend moving along this outside angle here. If you are so open, not to one but to two angles at the same time. If you want to go up round to that corner, I would always recommend coming round here, checking this door, because there's only one angle they can come from, and then going round to cover that way. Stuff like this. Yeah, so start of the round you might see me do this, do the smoke, do the Molotov, and what I might do then is do a flash like this, turn away from it. And then from that, because the deep flash like that actually opens, so if the T's come and open the door like this to come and catch me, that flash is going to absolutely wreck them. If the T's open this door fast to come and rush out of this door, that flash is going to get them. So you'll often see me do that flash, but you need to call to your teammates that you're doing that flash, because there's no point your teammates saying, right, I'm going to watch double doors here. You throw a fucking flash into your own teammate's face. So just let them know, just say I'm going to flash the site, basically, as I go over, as I rush catwalk. So you can get down here, start the round, you do the Molotov, you do this, and then you do that, turn away from it, and then you're constantly ready then for them to open that door. Or if you've heard them underneath you open that door, then you can do stuff like this. You can drop flashbangs as well. If you just look at the edge of the roof like this, drop flashbangs down, wait for it to pop, and you can kind of then come around and just drop on people. That flash has got no warning, and that's going to absolutely blind anyone who stood in that doorway. You can do exactly the same from up here. If you're stood up in this corner, you can just look at the corner like this, jump up, and as soon as it pops, come on around then and absolutely wreck them. Same again, look, that flashbang comes from nowhere, and it basically just drops into their POV. It's such a good flashbang if you're looking up to do it. Same again, I can do it on this corner like this. Come on round, start clearing out that corner and stuff like that, okay? Because those flashes are going to start doing big damage. Just be careful that you don't get it stuck on there or get it stuck behind the coil. So make sure that you're kind of bringing it forward enough, like that, because you want it to drop down in towards that POV. So try not to do it from up here, because it's not going to quite go where you want it to, and if you do it too far that way, you're just going to bounce it in front of yourself. So be careful, make sure you come forward a little bit, let it go down, and then you can kind of then come around and get that nice easy kill. That's going to be a meathead flash. For anyone who, especially if they're up there and they think you're up there, that flash is coming in and it's going to be absolute lethal town. Now I think that's pretty much everything here from CT side. You can use stuff against them. You know, all the grenades I showed you work in reverse. There's no reason that CT side you can't drop grenades down on towards Decon. You hear that door open, you can't get grenades then that come around in towards that position. All that kind of stuff. I've shown you as well, you can counter smoke this as well. So I think if you just look at the top of the pillar, ooh, my goodness, I'm going all over the place with my utility. There we go. That also smokes off the window. It's really essential at that. You can rush through the window CT side where you can do stuff like this, and then, you know, you can do flashes down there, or my favourite flash is to flash like that and then kind of come forward. So rock a flash forward like that, let it pop forward, and then kind of come on round. Because the good thing is with that flash, it flashes nice and high. It whips up at the end. So even if there's T's back up here, it doesn't flash low down there. It whips back up at the end. You can see the trajectory whips back up. So if there is T's holding this, it kind of comes back up into their POV, because there's nothing worse than having a flash that finishes down there. That's not going to do anything to a T. That flash just pops down here. If you're flashing low, that's going to do nothing and you're going to get destroyed. So make sure that you are leaving a little tail on your flash. Come on around, coming on and checking all this stuff, and a flash like that is going to give you so much stuff if you're deciding to play aggressive. Now remember, if you have got the smoke, you can still get grenades in behind the smoke if you're playing in towards this angle like this. If you hear the CT or the T's pop that window, you know where the window is. Get Molotovs in behind that. Make them suffer. Make them, you know what I mean? And then usher them away with grenades down the ramp. You know where it is. You push them away with that Molotov, follow up with a nade. They're going to be like, fuck me, that's so sweaty. So don't be scared. Just because you've got the smoke up on that window doesn't mean you can't still absolutely wreck T's in behind that. You know, you can just wait for it. And you know what I mean? It's quite easy. You can basically just see the edge of the window just like this. You know where it is, and you can get him in there. Just get it in there. And deep grenades like that. Get deep grenades. It's also worth throwing those deep grenades as soon as you see a head. As soon as you see someone like this, follow up with a grenade and make sure you usher those fuckers away. I think that is now pretty much everything I can think of. I tried to keep the video as concise as possible, going through as many tips and tricks. I'm sure there's going to be things I've missed. I'm sure there are going to be boost spots and other things like this where, you know, where you can do stuff, weird stuff, to play different angles. I'm sure that you can do things like that, where if I get zigzag to play at the edge of the box. I'm sure you can do weird stuff, alright, that people aren't expecting. It's a massive risk to play two in there, 'cause like say if you get mollied and stuff like this, but I'm sure that you can do things like this where you both play at the top and do all sorts of stuff. I'm sure there are one-way smokes as well that you can do, where if you pitch the smoke just in the right place. So, because I have seen it done before, where sometimes you will get the CTs who will deliberately place the smoke like this, and then they will be playing at the edge of it like this. Be so careful. I would just always be so careful if you see a smoke like that. That is not safe. You have no idea if there's a deliberate gap in the left. I've seen it done by CTs before where they're waiting and they will just wreck you as soon as you come around that smoke thinking it's safe, and you'll be like, oh fuck, there's a gap at the edge of it. Be so careful on T side. You can do, obviously that window is nice and wide. You can do it either side. Do you know what I mean? Where you can then kind of play at a gap like this, because as soon as, often at lower ranks, a team will see that smoke and be like, oh, let's carry on going, and then they will not be ready for you to be sat right at the edge of the smoke here like this, pop them, and then it's a 2 versus 1, really, really easy. So you can do that kind of stuff as well if you want to. That's pretty ratty, but it does kind of work as well. Obviously as well, T-side, don't be afraid. You can use these corners and stuff like this, get deep Molotovs as well to punish CTs. You might, if you know that one's up on towards that kind of catwalk, or on towards the top ramp, you can get Molotovs here just to make sure that he can't then do anything at all and sit behind it. You remember that I showed you this strat, this fast strat? You could actually follow a Molotov up onto the ramp like this, where kind of you do that, get the flash out, and you can kind of do stuff like this. And you know where the door's there as well, so you can even throw up the Molotovs like this. You can drop the Molotovs in like that to stop them pushing. You know where these doors are. Look at the lights, they guide me towards that door. And you can get Molotovs in behind that smoke strap like this, and now they can't do anything other than let you plan. That's kind of pretty funky. That's pretty much it, guys. And again, you can self-flash out of this, but you can move out and kind of things like this. Just remember the principle of where you want to flash. You're going to be absolutely fine and stuff like this. Remember, if you see the T's going behind here, you can get Molotovs. It's really easy. It's pretty self-explanatory, this map. Just win it. just do it. I don't think there's anything much more that you're going to glean from me that's going to give you a magical insight to this map. You know, just making sure as CT you're minimizing yourself constantly to the amount of angles. You're not stood somewhere where I can get done by 1, 2, 3 angles. If you are going to play out on this catwalk, making sure I'm just open to this angle and I can hear if they come through this window. If they come through this window, then I can do something like this, or I can flash in and do something like this, because as that flashes, that's not going to blind me, but that's going to wreck any T like this, and it's just going to shoo them away and stuff like this. So all that kind of stuff that you can do. Now I genuinely think this is absolutely everything. I've shown you all the wall bangs, I've shown you everything possible, I've shown you to do that. You know, you can do smokes and stuff like this that land in towards the door and stuff if you want to play up here, and I've shown you as well that you can do all that kind of stuff with Molotovs and smokes. It all works, and I think now we are basically at the point of everything. I've shown you everything, so please enjoy this video. I'm going to do overpass or train or something next, and I will catch you guys soon.